And now, the award-winning Simply Youth Ministry podcast with Doug Fields and friends.
Hey everybody!
Oh no!
Doug Fields here with Josh Griffin and
Doug and friend.
Doug and friend. We have lost the other people. Jana, actually, at this time, what time exactly is it?
12:26.
She was induced 26 minutes ago.
Wow.
And I was in a meeting this morning. I prayed for her. Don't pretend you did.
I absolutely did not.
Okay.
But I will right now.
And Matt McGill. So Jana is birthing right now.
Yes.
So she's being cut open.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. Yeah.
Cut open.
Yeah. C-section.
And we don't know what. I asked her last night, like at 11 o'clock, we were emailing back and forth. I asked her if we could Skype her in.
And she said
that would be sick. And I said,
awesome.
Only to you.
So we've got Jan on the line. No, we don't have Jan on the line. All right.
So Jana's not here, and Matt McGill had a meeting at Pastor Rick's house at 9 a.m. And I got a text from him. I should tell you what time the text came. I got a text from him, said, still meeting with Rick. It's going good. That came in at 11:29.
Wow.
So
here is an hour later.
The future of the church has been with Rick Warren for going on 3.5 hours now. So we don't know if he's going to make it or not. Kathy Fields is going to come a little bit because her and I are doing our first marriage and family and youth ministry podcast right after this.
Yep.
But this is one of my favorite days, and it's we're recording on May 1st, and it will be up tomorrow night, right, Chris? It'll be up tomorrow night, May 2nd. But I'll tell you why it's one of my favorite days, because one of the things that I love more than anything in the world is to win a bet. And
the end of May brings the close to a bet.
Mr. Talk Exaggerator,
wow,
made a bet that if I Twittered, I would have 1,000 followers in 2 weeks or something like that.
30 days.
No, you said 2 weeks, and I said, I'll give you the whole month, and that's not going to happen. And I'll tell you what my research was based on. My research was based on me talking to, let's say, 12 youth workers and saying, do you Twitter? Nope. Don't even know what it is. Do you Twitter? Do you Twitter? Do you Twitter? So Andy and his geeky friends are the only guys that Twittered. So I said, this is a bet I'm going to win. I've been faithful on Twittering.
You've been very surprisingly good.
4 to 5 times a day. I've done it on my mobile phone many times while I'm going to the bathroom. Not always, just several times.
It's good.
Sitting in the car, waiting. It hasn't been an inconvenience.
You haven't done it at the gym.
No, I haven't been to the gym.
Haven't been to the gym, so that's one place you haven't.
5 weeks, yeah. So it hasn't been an inconvenience, and actually I got a Twitter today, which I'm going to twit back to my twit buddy, who said you called it microblogging. He said you're a good microblogger.
Yes, yeah. You know, in a weird way, though, I wonder if Andy did win.
Because
he didn't get to 1,000. He didn't get to 1,000, but he's convinced. Well, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying you're Twittering and you like it and you're good at it.
No, I didn't say I like it.
Oh,
I think
you might be getting hooked.
I've never admitted that I like it.
And secondarily,
here's the deal. I'm already dropping some of my followers. People that I'm following, because I can't keep up with them. Like if I go to my here's the deal. I'm one of the major stresses in my life is answering emails. I am never caught up on email. I always feel guilty. I stress out on that. If Kathy comes into my office at weird hours at night, I guarantee she's never going to catch me doing anything inappropriate.
Because I'm
always doing email. Plus, we have 19 filters in our house.
Fair enough.
That's why Josh.
No! It's so bad. I've worn this for 3 weeks. It's gone now.
All right.
I thought you were going to, when we put our hands in, I thought you were going to get me. And
So anyway, but here's the deal. Some of you guys, Tony Stewart, oh my gosh, Tony, who's watching live, the guy Twitters every 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, hey,
Going
wearing
to the
my
bathroom.
blue shoes today. And it's great. I'm sure that his Twitter geeks love it.
They are just,
But I can't even keep track of the 20 people I'm following.
Yeah,
Barack Obama. I'm on his list.
Yeah.
One a day. A day. He did a rally at Indianapolis. And if McCain Twittered and Hillary Twittered, I would follow them one a day.
One a day.
Well, then
So are you going to twit one a day?
I don't know. I'm gonna capitalize on winning the bet. I may do but see, I'm not even sure. What are we like at 900 youth workers now?
You call it 900.
But they're not even youth workers. Like we had dinner at McGill's house last night.
They're all youth workers.
No, they're not. We had dinner at McGill's house last night. And
90% of them are youth
your
workers.
mom.
My mom is one example of a way that I chose to leverage this for myself.
Free dinner. Free dinner.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's a respectable number, though. 900 out of 1,000. Not bad.
you know what?
Didn't win.
Didn't win. That's
Fair
all I
enough.
care about. It could have been $9.99, and
But very respectable effort. It's like going 20 miles in a marathon. Good job. You didn't finish.
well, it's respectable. But here's the deal: he didn't say he's put in every Simply Youth Ministry newsletter.
It's cost,
Yeah.
It's cost a lot of money to not win this bet.
Yeah. I even the other day when I put up a photo of my office.
Yeah.
I thought I am being like so revealing, so transparent.
Mhm.
I'm sending it from my phone while I'm sitting in a
Restroom?
No, a furniture store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They were good.
I
They
felt
were
like
good
I
Twitters.
have
Good
Twitters.
tweets.
Yep. Tweets. Thank you.
twits is what I like to call them. So anyway.
If you would have started doing
Oh.
it correctly from the first day,
Oh.
following
Oh, here
others
we go. All
organically,
right.
we would have been to 2,000 followers already.
You know what? You
2,000 is
you
this
should have
like
said
the middle of the
you
month.
should have said that in week 1, not after.
It took us 3 weeks for you just to figure out that you could follow somebody.
No. After your first email blast and you got 300 right away, you were already calling the restaurant and placing your order for the
I have a
bet.
reservation for 5 o'clock. Is
Yeah.
that right? Yeah.
Hey, there's
It
a
was
guy
awesome.
named Dan Barber who writes in, and Dan says, oh, wait, here's the other thing before I get to this. The eBay for helping hurting youth worker funds,
Yeah,
which
we
I'm
should
matching
talk-
$1,500.
We should talk about this.
I get on it today because I wanted to see what it was at.
Yeah.
And I actually had to ask for the link for it. I didn't even know where the link was.
It's
Which
on the show page.
on the show page, which I don't know where that is. But I said, I see it has no
Zero
bids.
Yep.
And so I said, but they've started the price at $199. So
When I saw the page, I was like, 100. This is awesome, and then it said 0 bids.
Yeah.
Oh.
So here's what and it was like 5 signed books, Matt's coat from Seattle, and your More Than Dodgeball T-shirts, which we are making collector's editions.
Clearly worth that money, but a little high for a
You
starting
got to
bid.
start somewhere and get some.
Start it at
incentive.
$1 and let people
so
have
we're
fun.
we're gonna
Yeah.
restart that one. And Andy, I came in, and Chris, who most people don't see, but Chris is brilliant. Chris Davis is
Yes.
all of our media and website and all this stuff.
Sound engineer.
because we have good sound now.
Hand model.
Chris
Very
does a
good.
lot of things well. Decent Twitter.
Yeah, not bad.
Decent Twitter. A little too much.
CRD
A
55.
little too much about his lunch breaks.
Yeah.
Which
I'm so
which I
hungry
really-
right now.
Yeah.
I follow you for that.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
So, but anyway, so I'm like, the guy's the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And I've never made fun of him once. But I said today, I said, if he's the one that set the price at $199, I'm making fun of him. What does he do? He points to
He
Andy.
points at the guy who's already going to get killed
It
for
was
losing
an
the bet.
experiment.
It was a terrible experiment. Now, here's the great
It
thing
could
about
have worked. It didn't, though.
Okay, let's go back to the reason. Let's big picture principle for all youth workers listening. What are we trying to get accomplished with it? We're trying to raise money to help hurting youth workers, especially in this economy. We're going to need it even more. So you set the price at $199.
$199. A good benchmark for a solid piece of
It just
contribution.
shows. Now that's 2 losses in a row. You lost the Twitter that you don't know what you're talking about, and you lost the eBay bid that you don't know what you're talking about.
What did the other eBay auctions come in at for the last 3? Okay.
400 and something for the first one.
Thank you.
180 for the. But
Oh,
what did you
interesting.
start
What's
at
the
on
median
those?
between those two?
They both started at $29. Thank you.
All
Thank
I'm
you. I'm
saying
sorry,
is
what?
how much? What's the median between 489 and 180?
Andy,
What is that average?
here's the deal.
Is that 300?
If there
I think
was
that it is.
if there was 6 or 7 bids right now, I would go, you might have a point. But the fact that there's 0 bids, that not one youth worker
On a super,
bid on
it's a super item too.
bid
So you
on
can't-
that.
Yeah.
I mean, getting the McGill's coat is just
McGill's
kind of
coat.
it's kind of novelty like.
Yeah.
It would be like our hardcore podcast fans
That
the
wants a
Jason
piece of
Underwood,
history.
the David Morris types.
That's right.
That they might go, okay, I
The
cannot
Brian
have,
Ferry.
I cannot have a few lattes and get McGill's coat, but to start it at $199.
Yeah.
It was-
All right,
like I
big-
you're,
said.
you're 0 for 2.
Big Mike
Experience.
0 for 2.
Lewis.
We'll start it again.
Could've
at-
gone big.
We'll start it again at today. We'll start it again at $10.
$10.
$10, and
By
you
the
get
end of the
5
show.
signed books to any of your volunteers that you want. Anybody you want to
Absolutely.
give them to.
Yep.
I'll write whatever you want on it. a More Than Dodgeball
exclusive memorabilia.
T-shirt and a
Matt's
Matt's coat. And because Andy made a major mistake on this
Oh.
one, let's throw in a Simply All Access.
Let's do that.
Simply All Access.
And
which
start
is, what
the
do we sell
bidding.
that for?
$2.99.
$2.99 for a year, and we're going to give them that.
And we're going to give them, and we're starting the bid at $10.
Yeah, the Helping
I love
Hurting
it.
Youth Workers. These guys already died, Andy. They've died.
This is our last show too. We're also
because of
closing
your
the
choice.
doors.
What?
We can't afford to. You give everything away.
We're closing the
Give
doors.
everything away. Oh my
This
god.
is it.
We're having a going out of business sale. It's
They want a
All right.
kill ball shirt too. Are there any extra kill ball
Ooh,
shirts?
there, you know,
By the way,
I didn't even get a kill ball.
Kill
shirt.
Ball
That's a bummer.
was excellent. Not
Oh.
not just because my
It was
son
fun.
won.
Yes,
but-
who beat our team, no less.
Yeah.
Semifinal, we
Josh
went down.
was Josh was great. He was great at it. It was a good, fun event. 8 guys
Favorite
on a
sport?
team.
What's
But
that?
here's the deal I was thinking we need to do next time. We need to say, now Cody brought a bunch of his friends that had never been to church before. They
Yeah.
synchronized it with the sex series. But we need to make that part of the gig. 8 guys on a team, 4
Mm-hmm.
can be regulars, 4 newbies.
Four that have not. Yeah, I totally
Fun
agree.
outreach, I
No,
think.
I actually wore a half shirt with your face screen printed on it. It was a delightful,
Yeah, that's what they
delightful
want.
costume. Oh, that shirt?
That's the one they want.
Oh, well.
Okay, next
let me see if
eBay.
I've got it.
Next
Yeah,
eBay.
yeah.
Let me see
I
if
might. I might have it framed. I can't remember.
Somebody sent it to me to try to get me to speak at their event. It was a picture of me. It says,
Classic.
we want you," or something like
Yeah.
that. Right? To speak
So I
at their
cut
event.
it off, and it would look like a sports bra actually, but whatever.
Yeah. So you did a good job.
Thank you.
Now, what's
It
the
was
story
fun.
with your hair? Your hair's down a little bit?
Well, for our Sexy Back series, we're doing a lip sync version of Justin Timberlake's "Bringing Sexy Back" on stage this weekend.
Yep.
And I'm the lead dancer.
Is that before I speak? Or
Right
after?
before you speak.
Right
so
before
it's
I
like
speak.
that, and as we're dancing off, you're walking on.
Were you the main
Awesome.
character of
It's
Purity
gonna be
Pirate?
amazing.
I love the
No,
challenge.
I wasn't. Purity Pirate was fun though.
Purity Pirate was fun.
But yeah, so
Well, we ought to talk about some of the.
I'm sweating. We danced for an hour, and I'm so not a good dancer.
How have you, when in your entire life have
Never.
you ever said that statement? You
Never
dance for an hour.
Yep. On the clock, I danced for an hour.
We got some feedback, some negative, some hits because Josh, more than
Yes.
dodgeball.com, he lumps everything we've ever done. So he takes my video that I do to kids, which was I got great. Here's the great compliment. My own 16-year-old son said, "Dad, that was a great video."
It was brilliant
It was
in
me.
every way.
What did the blogosphere say though?
We took it off
wasn't
before
gonna
that could
take
be.
it off.
It wasn't some. People wouldn't understand the context, but it was me saying, "Hey, look, I'm one of the adults. I got a reputation for saying it like it is. I'm not
I
afraid."
saw it. It was awesome.
And every time I would just bleep things.
So then we're
out.
bleeping out words that could be interpreted as bad words, but,
But
they were.
all I was saying was like the Lakers are going to win the championship, and then I was just making
Yeah.
things up, and I'm like, I love picnics, and
All
I
it
want-
is a guy and a girl, and they bleep, and then bleep, bleep, bleep. It was so funny.
And then it said next week Doug Fields uncensored.
Live and uncensored, yeah.
Yeah.
Which it should be great. We had a great attendance.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what God's going to do and how the song goes over and what you're going to
so
say.
I
and
can't wait to speak this weekend.
We are bringing Sexy
Anyway,
back.
Dan Barber says, you guys talk about Twitter a lot. Dan, and a lot you have is one word. It's actually a lot is 2 words.
Why don't you tweet that?
Have you ever looked at twittervision.com? I think you guys and the listeners would get a kick out of it.
I've seen it. It's a map.
It's a map?
A world map.
That tells you where your Twitters are going?
Yep.
Hmm.
All right.
Would you like it if I said tweets?
I prefer that.
He says, I'm bummed my story about my junior high counselor in Exodus 22:19 got a mention but not read.
Oh, that was the one that Matt snatched out of your hand last week and
I
we
don't-
threw it away?
Yeah, sure. But look how he spelled Exodus. E-X-I-D-O-S.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so Dan's not a... I gotta install
He's got
spell check.
spell
on that.
check would be a
Where's-
good
where's the
idea.
deal?
No, don't do that.
It's up.
No,
Oh,
it's
no,
right
it is
there.
right
It's
there.
an
You're
easier
right.
shot.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
Hey, David Morris, I got your email. I read it. Totally understand on the voting thing. It says, thanks for the shout out last week's podcast. If you read this, I am the one that texted you last week regarding a T-shirt to send you,
Oh, awesome.
a XXL.
Yeah, this guy,
Anyway.
I blog about how I get shirts all the time. You
Yeah.
guys made fun of me on the show.
Right,
Well, then
who
this
said
guy made a shirt and is mailing it this week. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
but-
really?
Yeah, so a guy
you
made
know
a
who
shirt.
David is.
Yeah.
David's our second place guy who
Exactly.
doesn't feel like he's second place because the voting is fixed.
He was a winner. So if you want to make me a shirt, I'll wear it on the show. And I'll get more free clothes.
All right,
2XL.
here is a multi-site question from Ryan Seegers, but because Matt's not here, what we're going to do
Yeah.
is we're going to add this to
Table
the
that one.
much better than morethandodgeball.com.
Great.
And he can answer that. And he left the one last week. Does that mean Matt didn't blog about it this week?
Can you go to the website and see?
Yeah.
I cannot
weird.
go to the
Some of you
website.
guys that run the show, you ought to follow up on stuff like that.
Yeah, or no.
Okay, Andy, let me talk to you about one thing you twittered that
What did I
I just
Twitter?
have to tell you you're lame.
What did I Twitter?
Oh, this is awesome.
That
He's getting tender right now. Look.
That 30 Rock is better than The
It
Office?
totally is.
Not.
No.
It totally is.
30 Rock. No.
You know what? Here's what I said to Matt,
Uh-huh.
because me and Kathy were over at Matt and Misha's last night.
Yeah.
And I said, it just shows, it proves my point how unfunny Andy is.
Yeah. If you can't even recognize funny.
Or I'm so cutting edge funny, you guys can't hang.
No, 30 Rock almost got cut. It almost got cut.
That's funny. That's funny, because, yeah.
It almost didn't get picked up. It's
This
so
is from
unfunny.
Mark Holm.
But I watch it.
Long-time listener, first-time emailer, love the show, feels like sitting among friends. That's what it feels like to me, and you.
And it
What
is
it
like we're
looks
sitting
like
among a
from
friend
our
angle.
today.
Friend.
Well,
Yeah.
and Andy.
Yesterday, Josh and I went out to lunch to talk about the sex series.
Yeah,
Oh.
so you guys have fun.
Well, we only had about an hour because he had to go pick up his kids and things like that, and I was running a
Mhm.
little bit late. So we get through lunch. We went up talking about everything but the sex
series?
series.
We
So
never even-
Well,
I'm
at the very
so
end, I was
sorry,
like,
yeah.
okay, what am I doing the next 2 weeks? Okay, done.
It was so fun though, just
It was
hanging out
great.
and talking youth ministry.
It was great.
Like this.
I don't care how loud Jana gets. It's still worth risking my eardrums. Oh, here's Matt McGill on the phone.
Oh, maybe he's on his way.
Here, let me try to do speakerphone.
Oh yeah, right here, right there.
Oh, wait.
There's a little speaker button.
Shoot. Okay, I didn't know how to do that.
Or you can do that.
Hey, Matt.
Is this still podcasting?
Yes, we're still podcasting.
Nice.
Are you as the future of the church? How was your meeting with Rick Warren?
Oh, it was warmlicious, is what I'd like to say.
Warrenless. Hey, you know what I noticed about your meeting with him? You were with him for a long time, but during the time you were with him, he sent out about 4 all emails to everybody. So it sounds like he was paying great attention to you.
No, he was, because it was crazy, because he would say, okay, so what do you guys need? And I'd go, well, I think we need this. He says, okay, let me write an email. So then he writes an email, and he reads it back and says, did I get that right? And I was like, yep. And then he'd send it. So it was like, I don't know. It was a surreal experience.
Was he in those nasty shorts and T-shirt, or was he actually dressed?
Actually, we were all just naked.
All right, are you coming by?
Well, my boss wants to talk to me now that there's lots of things happening.
I bet.
Yeah.
How much time is left in the podcast?
Enough-
There he is right now.
Enough for you to get here and get some sandwiches.
Sandwiches are good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Plenty of
Yeah,
food.
come on.
Okay, well let me see what Gerald says, and then I'll give you a call.
Gosh, does he not know that you are the future of the church?
Cowboy up, Matt.
I actually haven't anybody that doesn't know that yet.
Hey, here's the deal. This will show how strong of a leader you are. How quickly you can get away from your boss
Wow.
and get here.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Seriously,
That's-
if you
that's-
don't show up in 30 minutes, it just shows how weak you are that you caved into the man.
That's a
if
fair-
we're on a podcast right now, I might say it's expletive.
You would not.
No, you're right.
All right. Me
I
and,
just wanted to see if I could get
me and Josh are carrying the show. Hey, Andy wants to talk to you real quick.
No, no.
No, I just hung up on
Okay,
that was
great.
my bit.
Funny bit.
All right. So,
Put up with Janice squawking.
he says, we run our ministries with student leaders who do everything from small groups to community service learning. In the selection process, I'm really interested to hear what questions each of you would ask potential student leaders. Now, he says each of you. It's pretty much
Yeah.
narrowed down to you and me.
Well, yeah, it's us, I guess.
More specifically, what are your top 3 questions for a student leader who wants to be a part of a high school ministry? I know general important questions about being a follower of Christ, committed Christian life, etc. I thought that was Matt calling back. But what questions really get to the heart of discerning the ministry leadership potential of an individual? That's a very fair
Yeah,
question.
that is a good question.
And I'm not sure there's a form you want to fill out. I mean, I think
Yeah.
this is one of those where, hey, let's meet at Taco Bell for a Coke and talk about it. But
Right.
I would always say you trust your judgment on this. Here's a couple things. I'll rattle off a
Yeah,
couple
great.
and then you add to.
Great.
I would give some serving scenarios and talk about, like an example.
Yeah.
We play kill ball on Saturday night. All right.
Mhm.
After it's over, what do we have to do? We've got to set up the
Reset
room
up
for
the
Sunday
whole
morning.
room, yeah.
And what do kids do? Scatter.
Bailed as fast as they could. The room was
Yeah, I understand they played 2.5 hours, but
And it's
you know,
late
so did
and,
you,
yeah,
and
sure.
it's pushing midnight.
Sure.
But what do we have to do? Some of our student leaders stayed, and then we had to go to some other. I went to some other ones. And goes, hey guys, let's go
corral some students.
start doing cheers.
Yeah.
So that would be a serving scenario that I
like
would
that.
say, hey, being a part of a student leader isn't just being cute, fun, and popular. You know, after kill ball's over, we got to stick around for 30 minutes to
Right.
set up chairs, and guess what? That's what leaders do. They set up chairs.
Right.
Are you comfortable with that? Can you see yourself doing that? I would put those serving scenarios. I also want to know about their family life.
Yeah.
If a student leader doesn't have a good family life, or parents don't support him or her going to church, I want to know about that, at least so I'm
That's good.
aware of what's going on, what dynamics might be at home. And then I want to know, how would your friends describe you?
That's really
If I
good.
went to your football team or your band practice or something like that, would they even know that you're a Christ follower?
Right.
Right? Then, and still, bottom line, unless you know the kid really well, you've been on camps with him or something like that, or your small group leader, you're still kind of taking a gamble. But that's a great gamble to take with
Totally.
kids. And then you set it up, you set them up with confidence.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I would say, obviously, we want them to, the biggies are they know Jesus Christ and
Right.
that they're connected in the church. I would want them to be part of a small group as well. I don't know if I'd make it a requirement, but it would certainly be an expectation, at least, that they're connected in fellowship. And then I would also say, what does your spiritual growth look like, and how are you growing, and how are you growing on your own? Is even some of the language that we would use in particular, because we want to make sure that they don't think I'm just earning my way to heaven or doing good for the sake of doing good, but I want them to see this is the fruit and the result of a God-centered life.
Yeah. In Purpose-Driven Youth Ministry, on the chapter on core and student leadership, we have an application.
Right.
And in there it asks, are you part of a small group, and are you doing the
Exactly.
habits, spiritual growth habits?
Yep.
And, give us a little update on those. And, we know a lot of... My ear just popped.
I did? Yeah, looks fine.
How's my hair look?
Real nice. How's my...
Yeah, you've been dancing.
Yeah, it's very sweaty.
Um,
And
yeah.
I think I like the idea, though, of a casual conversation. You don't have to have a formal interview where you come in and whatever. It can just be Taco Bell over a Pepsi and enjoying a conversation. You can glean a ton out of casual conversation.
How'd I do that? All right, good question. Here's one from John Cole.
Hi, John.
One thing that got mentioned about a previous podcast is your formal review process for working with volunteers. Do you have any paperwork on that process that I could see? Anything written would be a help to me. I got the personal growth spiritual review document that we put
Yep.
up that I requested recently, and would love to see other such items. I don't think we have
Yeah.
where that whole idea came from. I've told this story a million times, but Kathy and I would leave our youth ministry, and after church on Sunday, we'd go out to lunch with some kids, and then when the kids would leave, we'd pull out a napkin, and we would just write down the volunteers' names, and then give them a grade. Were they an A, a B,
Right.
or a C? And if they were A, we went, okay, how do we keep affirming them? If they were a
Right.
B, the question was, how do you move them to an A? If they were a C, how do you help them get to another ministry?
Become
the
a
goal,
become a greeter. Yeah.
the goal is to move them, B's to A's,
Sure.
keep them at A's, move the C's around.
Yep.
So that was the whole idea. And then, at one point it was probably Kathy who said, hey, why don't we ever tell these C's where they're, when do you affirm the A's, and how do you challenge the B's? So that's kind of where, okay, we got to, because it used to be when I was early in ministry, I would just recruit volunteers and then go,
Right.
okay,
And be happy with
they're
it.
on the team, we got them. So I think the review is very informal.
Yeah.
One thought is, maybe you take a Word document afterwards. You go with
Mhm.
your Moleskine or your journal. Hey,
Right.
here's 3 things I wanted to ask you. You write down their answers, and when you get back to your office, you type them in, keep track of maybe
Right.
what that conversation went like. But it's not like I filled out this form, you fill out this form.
Right. And we'll get together and talk about what's on the form.
Yeah, I think it's more casual.
Yeah, I think total relational management of volunteers is absolutely the key. If you have some stuff written down, I think that'd be great. But yeah, I don't think a big formal review process like an employer and an employee is probably the best answer, but something
Yeah.
has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the things we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
With, you now not being the interim high school guy, you are the high school guy. and
Absolutely.
finding out the condition of your flock, meaning
Right.
your flock is not just the kids, it's the volunteers.
Yeah, and getting the pulse of where students are at or where your volunteer team is at, and knowing what's going on, and it's super important to me.
Well, and it takes a lot of extra time too, because
does.
you're preparing a talk or programming or
Right.
putting things together.
Do you know what Josh has done real well?
What has Josh done real well?
He's been engaged in Life Hurts God Heals, which I think is really significant because it's such an important part of the ministry, but it's oftentimes overshadowed by the hugeness of Area Bible Study.
Yeah. Now,
Very
Chris,
cool.
could people hear what he just said? Yeah, because you're welcome to put on a headset if
Yeah,
you want
dude,
to
jump
occasionally
in.
cackle in, Andy.
Don't
So
worry.
we got 2 empty seats. Yeah, Josh has been going to our recovery program for teenagers that Megan Hutchinson runs called Life Hurts God Heals.
Yeah.
Been making appearances that and loving on them, and there's some great volunteers. Those
They
volunteers,
are.
dude. When
They
I went
are
to,
sold
I
out.
went to the graduation
Yeah, I saw
last Wednesday of that, and then wound up doing the baptisms with Megan afterwards. They are really good
They're
volunteers.
unbelievable,
Like they were
yeah.
giving these kids that have went through the 12 weeks of this. They're giving their diplomas and people are graduating. You could see in the volunteers' eyes, like,
Yeah.
I love this kid. And one lady kissed her girls on each side of the cheek, and
Yeah,
it
and you
was
could hear them
just very
cheering when someone got
affectionate.
baptized. They're cheering and leading the cheer of
Yeah.
the people. It was stunning. It was really
Yeah,
neat.
Megan and I are actually meeting next week because I told her when I rewrote, our adult version of Celebrate Recovery, I rewrote it to Life Hurts God Heals.
Right.
We did it for a few years. Then when Megan came on, I asked Megan to rewrite it again and keep updating it. And I
Totally.
said, Megan, this is going to be the next PDYM, and I can't lead both, and you have a heart for this. And we did it together last weekend in Dallas, and it was so great. She's getting already from that Dallas group. She's
Yeah.
getting so many people who bought the curriculum and now going, okay, I need help here. And
Right,
she,
right.
it's gone global.
I really like it. I've watched it from afar for a few years, but then, well, for example, I don't know if I said this on the show or maybe it was just to you, but I had a kid in one of the weekend services. A student came up to me and he was clearly on drugs, like right
Yeah.
then. He was really, really in trouble. And he said, can I have, you guys have a support group or something? And it was so great to know if I get his number, if he could remember his number, and if I can get that in Megan's hands, she would attach him with a caring leader and on a road to recovery. And immediately she followed up on him, and he's going to be okay. But it's so great to have that resource in our church. So part of the reason I'm going is because I really believe in it.
Yeah.
And I want her to know it. I want those leaders to know it.
Yeah.
And I need that to say, here's a kid who's really making the worst decisions ever.
Yeah.
And we've got to minister to him, and it's
Well,
working. It's totally working.
She feels your total support until last night.
Well, that's because you're going to throw me under the bus like that for real? Okay, here's the deal. I'm going to the Leader Appreciation Dinner.
I wasn't going to.
The Leader Appreciation Dinner
For Life Hurts God
for
Heals
Life Hurts God Heals.
volunteers,
This would be
so-
my 4th time out of 13 weeks
Yeah.
to go. That's great.
That's a lot.
That's great. But then Kurt Johnson calls up and says, I have Iron Man tickets to a preview screening. The movie's not even out yet. And he's like, do you want to go? I texted Megan, oh, Megan, I wish I could go. I'm so sorry. And I got a Tommy's Burger, and I saw Iron Man before the rest of the world. So, and I love hurting students.
I was just what I was doing.
Is there a bus right there? Here,
No,
throw
but
me
here,
under it.
you know
Really,
what? Here,
here.
we have a phone call where a guy calls me out on something. So
Good.
We'll
Can
take turns.
Thank you.
Last week,
Iron Man was very good,
We
by the
talked
way.
about, for some reason, we talked about that wooden spoon
Yeah.
game, and I guess apparently,
Yeah?
which I don't really remember this. I said I invented it.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't, but
Yes, you did say that.
Did
It's
I
on
say-
YouTube. Is that what does the call say? I haven't heard the call.
Here it comes.
what's on YouTube?
YouTube has this wooden spoon game.
Oh, it does. Well,
Yeah.
he's okay. Let's listen to the
Oh, yeah,
call and
let's
we'll
hear
talk
it.
about it.
Hey there, Andy and friends. This is Scott. I'm a high school youth pastor from Lincoln, Nebraska, and I just got done watching episode 76. And did I really hear Doug claim that he invented that wooden spoon on the head game? I looked over the internet and saw that it's everywhere. If he did invent it, you're brilliant, Doug. But I'm guessing this is more like an Al Gore invented the internet claim. So come on, do you have any documentation to prove that? Thanks.
That's a
awesome.
great call.
And you know what? He's probably totally right. I don't remember. One, I don't remember saying I invented it, but I wouldn't put it past me to say that
You did.
Now, if I was totally embarrassed by this, we wouldn't even have played the
Right,
call.
right. Somehow this made it through the filters. You would have never even know it came
So
in.
I don't have that much.
Here's what happened.
I could care less.
You are like Comcast, though. You brought the internet to the people, and you brought this game to Saddleback, or to your church,
You know what?
and to
It's
your.
funny.
You brought it to the people.
I have no idea where I saw that game.
Yeah.
I really don't. But I'm sure I haven't had original thoughts since I was
There's.
6. So.
We should post in the links. We should post the link to one of the YouTube ones. They're
I'm gonna ask
unbelievable.
Oh, have you? Yeah.
We
so
should,
anyway,
'cause it's super funny.
who called
Well,
me out?
congratulations.
Scott, you called me out. You got me, but I wasn't trying to hide anything, or we would.
So-
He's wanting a free shirt. He's in the chat room.
He's on the live chat right now?
It's a good one. It's a
What
good,
kind of
it's-
shirt?
It's fair.
This
enough.
shirt?
Dodgeball shirt.
Oh, more than
No,
that.
I don't
Excellent
think so.
choice.
I don't think we.
Yeah,
can
it's
get
Those are
that.
two.
exclusive.
They're
Those are-
two.
Yep.
No.
No, we're
If
gonna
you-
we're gonna hang on to those.
Okay.
Yeah.
The boss.
Buy it on eBay.
Yeah, we would come up for other reasons
Yeah.
to give him. We're just
Yeah.
not going to freely give that one
What
out.
is of lesser value that we could give him? Simply access? Just kidding.
That's true. No, he doesn't need a prize for calling me out. That's totally fair.
No, it
But,
was good.
Hey,
Your prize
call us
is
out
winning.
on anything.
Yeah, your prize is knowing you were right. Congratulations. Although, didn't Al Gore really invent the internet?
Their chat room saying he did.
Yeah, I think he actually did.
Really?
Not a chance.
Yeah. But what would he say if somebody said that to him? I was
Scott?
misunderstood. Al Gore. You say I was misunderstood?
Yeah,
I didn't-
taken out of context. Yeah, misunderstood.
Yeah.
I might have had
You know what?
poor
I've
word
been
choice.
campaigning for so long that I'm getting tired, and so I came under sniper fire when I
You were
actually
dodging
created that game.
bullets. Yes.
This is from Dan
And,
Pratt.
and invented the internet.
Statesboro, Georgia.
Hi,
Dan
Dan.
Pratt says, "Dear Josh and friends, straight to the point, money. Now that our youth ministry is growing so rapidly, I have multiple students and parents handing me money for this trip all the time. Accounting is not my best skill, and at this time of the year, I spend 3 to 4 hours a week taking in money and funneling it to the proper account. Mission trips, camps, T-shirts, not to mention the fact that I've always had this thing about pastors not handling church money. Could you guys maybe shed some light on how you handle that responsibility in an accountable way and still keep it convenient for students and parents?" Dan, let me
Wow.
give you a really easy answer.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't take the money. I stopped doing that many years ago.
Yep. It's a
when
bad
when
idea.
kids would actually show up for camp, I had this happen to me once. Kids show up for camp. I'm like, hey, I don't have you on the list. And parents like, I gave you the check. I was like, oh gosh, did you? I'm sorry. And too many times kids would give me stuff. So
Yeah.
the last several years, I've been like, don't take it. Here's what we've done. We've got an information table in the back of the youth ministry tent.
Right. Go
And
there.
Go there, turn it in. I don't take the money. And people say, well, I can't. Well, I'm sorry. You're going to have to come back another night. I'm just not going to do it.
I found money in like a jacket a year later, and it'll be like a check for $380, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm the worst youth pastor ever, which is arguably true. But I mean, I've literally found money in a desk drawer, and I'm like working on something. I pull it out. I'm like, $400. What's that for? I assume it's a bonus, and someone just gave it to me, and I forgot.
No wonder
But-
our youth ministry budget doesn't. But
So I agree. You cannot handle money.
But
No
here-
way.
but here's
Right
the
before you go
principle.
on to speak, someone will be like, "Hey, can I hand you this?
here's the
$30 for the
principle,
overnighter?"
though, is there might be some people who they're totally organized at that,
Right.
and that's right in their sweet spot, and that's great. Then they handle the money, and you got to figure it out in the whole bit, and have checks and balances where you're not ever going to get accused of anything.
Totally.
But the leadership principle is there are other people who make your weaknesses seem irrelevant
That's
because
right.
theirs are strong.
That's
I was
right.
in a meeting today with 3 other people, and I said, they're asking me something, and I said, let me just tell you what I'm not good at. Okay? And that's why Jason's here. He's at this meeting because I'm not good at that. Here's what I'm good at. And then I went off on what I was good at for
Totally.
about 5 minutes. Now I need you guys to figure out how we're going to get that done. Okay?
Right.
Everybody does what we're good at here, and we can stack hands.
That's great.
And we win. So
Well, and
when
there's
it
other-
comes to permission slips, and just say, look, every Sunday morning, 10 minutes before Sunday
Right.
school, whenever your time is, Mrs. Johnson's going to be here. She's going to collect permission slips.
Totally.
Get a mom who's organized.
And
Dan, don't worry with it.
There's other options too. I mean, you could have people mail in. You could pay via the internet through like an event registration service. It would take a couple bucks, but it would collect the money for you. You can go old school and have like some type of a drop box or an offering collection box that's locked and heavy in the back. I mean, you could do this different ways.
Yeah, because he does say, and how do we do it where it's convenient for people?
Totally.
Because you could say, put on an envelope, drop it in the church after hours, in the
Exactly.
the slot in the door or whatever. But yeah, if you're not organized with all that stuff, don't do it.
I think.
But set a time. Here are the 3 times, and you know what? Kids are going to go. Well, I'm going to forget. Well, don't make your problem my problem. I want you to go to camp really bad.
Exactly.
But here's don't hand me money. Or
got the
right
camera.
on.
Nice.
Or you could say, you know, hey, just for sake of integrity, I don't want to handle money or permission slips.
Right. No, I think that's super, super smart.
69% of the people in the chat room handle their own money with their youth ministry.
Yeah, well, I did for many, many, many years. I would always collect it and put it in my pocket and wash it later.
Here's your check. Can we cash that still?
Can I have a question from the live chat here?
Would you like a question
wow.
from the live chat?
Live from the floor.
What can you recommend for youth workers who want to build bridges with other churches but run up with issues?
Want to build?
Bridges with other churches in the area but run up, conflict or have issues with them.
I would say you got to be okay when some people don't want to. First of all, like there are some churches that are just not going to do anything with you. Period. They are their own thing, and they're going to say no, and that can't bother you because if there's 10 churches in your community, there's probably more, but there's 10 in your community, there's going to be 3 that aren't going to have anything to do with you. Period. Sorry.
Yeah.
Be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, and they're also, the crazy thing about church and pride is that when kids switch churches or go to other churches,
Yeah,
they're
it's
always
weird.
going to say, we're never going to have a kid coming to Saddleback and go, I was at, Coast Hills down the street and they are so much better.
Right.
It's usually the other way around. People
They're coming to you.
Yeah. And there's been
Or the other way.
hundreds that have left
That have left.
Saddleback that
Sure.
go to Coast Hills and go, oh, this is so much better. They just don't, and so all of a sudden they plant those seeds in everybody's mind and we start talking about
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff and you get those feelings in there. You extend, we'd love to do this project with you guys.
Absolutely.
Let me just tell you what my motives are. I'd love to get together with you for lunch and talk motives. And here's what my motive is. My motive is about the kingdom. If you're concerned that kids, after we go, play community-wide kill ball, that they're all going to come to my church, why don't we do this? Why don't we give them information cards for your church?
Right.
You know,
And totally disarm that allegation
take
or whatever.
take away their ammunition
Yeah.
and talk motives. But because in church we tend to evaluate things based on numbers and money, everybody's afraid of losing their sheep to
Right. Who's going to
somebody
pay for
else.
what and who's going to, yeah.
Yes, and you know what? Even people in the congregation have that feeling too. Yesterday I was at Del Taco, and this guy came in. I've seen him about 2 or 3 times a year. He's like, "Hey, Pastor Doug, how's it going? Hey, I love this sermon, blah, 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 blah." So he comes in. I remembered that this guy told me he wanted to write a book, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. And I said, "Hey, how's the book writing going?" And he goes, we start talking a little bit. He goes, "Now, I don't go to Saddleback anymore, don't you?" And I was like, no.
Wow, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe that, and he's totally shaved, bald head guy.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
said, he's got a lot of shaved heads in the church, and I just thought you were one of them. And he goes, "No, we go to," and I forget the name of the church. We go to that church, it's just after we went to Rwanda, we just felt like we wanted a smaller, more Bible teaching church, and then he goes on
Sure.
to defend why he's going to that
Right.
one, putting down Saddleback.
Yeah.
Although he says we came to Christ at Saddleback.
Wow. Wow.
And so people, I just feel like, when you've done it for
Right.
a long time, you just realize everybody's got to defend their decision. Churches are territorial. We make other people
Sure.
the enemy when really Satan's the enemy.
Absolutely.
And we ought not be competing with one another until everybody's in the kingdom. Then we go, okay. It's one of the reasons I love down the street at Mission Hills, Jason Carson.
Yep.
He's got such a kingdom mindset. We got a lot of kids that are regular Saddleback kids that went through their junior high school who now they goes to their youth group.
Right.
Actually, I was laying in bed with Cody last night telling him about some of our ideas we were talking about.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, "You can't tell anybody. Me and Josh are just,
Yeah,
what do you
nobody.
think?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, that reminds me of Everyday Youth Group, which is Jason Carson's
Cool.
youth group down the street." And Jason comes to all of our PDYM conferences. I mean, Jason has become
Yeah,
a
he's
friend
legit.
as opposed to other people have said, "How do you do youth ministry in the shadow of Saddleback?" Well, just go to one of the 15 high schools around us and go, gosh, Saddleback's not reaching all of that.
Not even
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a dot.
And so, but Jason's got the right attitude.
Yeah, we have Danny in the area now too, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Danny's
the other
at
Mission Hills.
another church.
Yeah,
3
yeah.
PUIM guys though within 5 miles.
Yeah, and if people get that, hey, our church, this is the mission of our church, and this is what's
Right.
unique, and we don't pit people against one another.
It's tough though, because I remember being in a small church in Michigan, and we would get letters saying, there's always one guy in every community that wants to unite the churches together.
Yeah.
Like lay aside our differences and rah, And I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I'm okay with some uniqueness in the church, but I do like the idea of reaching students.
Yeah.
If I can partner with someone who's not super excited about this ridiculous thing, but will go after students' change lives, I'm in.
But is that easy for you to say is the biggest on the block? Because you can lose kids and not ever see an impact from it.
That's definitely a question I think that people would ask, and that people would say the biggest church is the one that's going to plan those big citywide events because they're already so big. Why not?
Yeah, but what if the larger church, and every city probably has a larger church. What if the larger church was to make the smaller church the hero?
Right.
And
Right.
figure out ways to do that.
Super bold idea.
Your wife's here.
Whose
My
wife?
bride is here.
Whose wife like mine would be here? Hello.
Hey, baby.
Hi. We're finishing up the show. Do you want to come in?
Yeah.
Sure.
Say
Ladies
hello.
and gentlemen, Kathy Fields
Hello.
has entered the house.
Yay.
Enjoy.
Have you prepped our podcast?
Yeah, but I was gonna not come right in for right this second.
You don't have to. Do you want to go out there and prep?
Yeah, I just need another minute.
Okay. Kathy Fields, everybody.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
take-
see y'all later.
All right.
All right.
I don't know how to answer
Coming
this
up
phone.
immediately following this show is our marriage podcast that I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
Our being there.
Here's a question from a guy named Ben. He says, I need some help, so maybe Matt shouldn't answer this one.
Who's still not here, by the way.
Which is
It is
awesome.
what, 20, 30 minutes
just,
late?
It just shows how weak he is.
Leadership ability.
Yeah.
Future of the church.
I have been working at this church for 3 years, and they're talking about hiring me on full time. The problem that I have is I've been working through PDYM in my youth group, and I've started different programs like the Habits and classes 101 through 401. My church isn't doing anything like that. The youth have grown from 15 kids to 50. And we have a church of about
Awesome.
150, so they're a third of the church.
Fantastic.
My pastor steals sermons from the internet and just reads them like a script. That's
Oh,
why I just did
don't we
Ben's
all?
first name.
Oh, we're not supposed to do that? Wait a minute.
I
Hold
don't
on.
know if I should stay at the church or find a different church. The other side of the story is that I know a pastor who's starting a church and would love for me to work for him full time, but they won't be able to hire me for about a year. I don't know what to do.
Well, he's flirting.
What
That's
should he
what
do?
it sounds like. He's married and he's flirting.
Maybe the live audience, Andy, could give us some ideas on what he should do. Ben, let me just give you one piece of advice. I'm not sure, this is the Band-Aid to your hemorrhage here. Every church looks better from a distance. And so if you're at a church where God's using you, obviously you're seeing some
Incredible.
interesting results,
Yeah.
15 to 50, and you've been there 3 years, you're just scratching the surface of health, building the purposes and habits. Those are all great things. It always looks better when you look somewhere else. It just, it's that
Yeah,
grass is greener,
absolutely.
but grass is greener where it's watered. So I would encourage you, until you feel a strong calling from God, maybe away to that or into another church, that you dig your feet in and you add another 3 years to that place. Now, it's easy for me to try to tell you what God's will is for your life, but I just think people quit churches way too early.
Yeah.
When you enjoy the low hanging fruit
Right.
for a little season, and then
Right.
when the fruit doesn't hang so low anymore and you actually have to work for it, and you're not seeing results as quickly, you get discouraged.
And you look at a different tree.
Yeah, that's part of
But don't you think 3 years in, he is starting to scratch the surface of something that, if God wants him there could be something really, really great ahead.
absolutely.
He's there for, maybe it's a major crisis, maybe it's a really difficult time that's ahead, or maybe it's, a bounty that he has no idea is about to happen, and growth that would be unexpected. But I would say 3 years in, you've laid a great foundation to stay for 5 more.
Yep.
I mean, if it's possible, if God would have you there, it would be best for the students and for the parents and for the church.
Well, and just because the
It's
pastor
tough.
steals sermons from the internet, that's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah.
Now, whether
No.
does the pastor really steal them?
He could
Does
be buying them from the internet.
Well, or does he get the outline and make them his own?
Sure.
You know what is the?
Well, yeah, I just taught you did 1 month to live for our adult services, and then I took those and really used the same outline, but taught them a little bit differently for our student ministry. So, I mean, you could argue that I was stealing your messages the last
Well,
3 weeks of the series.
everything I've seen you do, you make them bet. You know, Andy, was I telling you this that he did last week? The kind of my traditional.
Yeah, you said it was 100 times better.
Oh my gosh, he took
That's
my
fine.
message and it wasn't even my message. It didn't even sound. That was one where you go, okay, the principle was Doug,
Yeah,
where I talked
yeah.
about the over glamorization of sex and how it's
Right.
changed and things like that. But you made it so much better than
We
than
went
what
through
I
each
did.
decade, had a
like the
character
70s.
costume in each one. Doug Elliott, was former on staff. He had it on the screen. It said HSM Legend, and he rolls in on like a toy motorcycle wearing leather.
But
And
it was like Sex in the 50s.
Sex
right?
in the 50s, and it was so ridiculous. Kids are cheering, and like it smells like exhaust in there. It was really, really fun. We had a good time. History of sex. Anyhow, I just think that's an interesting allegation to make too.
Yeah.
There isn't a whole lot new out there. I'm all for writing your own, starting with a blank Word document, but boy, there's a lot to learn from other people's stuff.
Here's a guy named Doug Weinrich.
Either way, it makes me smile.
Look at this.
I bet he's never been teased about. Oh yeah, that's. What if it's Wiener itch? I'm so sorry. I can't.
It's spelled like that.
It's totally. I'm so sorry. It's spelled exactly. Like
It is. I've never
I'm
seen
so-
you crack yourself up
I-
like that.
I was like,
I
what
thought
if
you were gonna bust a blood vessel?
I just can't believe it's spelled exactly like that. So it's not inappropriate because it says that's
WEINR.
ICH.
ICH. Yeah. Oh, poor Doug.
I am so sorry, guys.
Daniel Lutheran Church.
You're
Ed-
crying.
It's funny.
How do
That
you
just
say-
caught
how
me
do you
off
say the
guard.
city in Washington.
Puyallup?
Puyallup.
Puyallup. Puyallup.
Puyallup.
Puyallup.
ALLUP.
I don't know.
Wallop. Wallop, Washington.
Hi, my name is. I can't even say it anymore.
All right,
Anyhow,
Doug,
what's
you
his
need
name?
to write
Doug?
us. You need to write us and let us know what you have been teased, how that
Yeah.
last name has been used
Yeah.
as teasing.
Please.
Hey, we also need more questions at podcast.
Yeah, that's just a good point. We printed out the emails last night at what was it,
Oh,
11
gosh.
p.m.
Okay,
after Iron Man.
Andy, forget it. I gotta have access to the emails. All right. Here's what I said. Josh and I have lunch yesterday. And I said, Josh, my Thursday morning is packed. I have to prep Wednesday night. He goes, okay, no problem. Sometimes I just forget. Well, duh. And so I actually go to the computer and I send him an appointment on Outlook. I send him an appointment at
Shows up on my calendar, on my
4:45.
phone,
It says
everything now.
print out podcast emails. I then text him, I don't know, like at 6 or
Yeah.
did you do it? And he goes, oh shoot, I was prepping for small group. Sorry, I'll get it to you. I'll be back at the church at 9. Anyway, long story short, I got him at 10:30.
Almost, yeah, it was
At your
bad.
house?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my house.
I dropped
He
them off.
had
It
to
was
drop
hand
them off.
delivered, but after a 7-hour delay, I feel a little bit obligated. And
Yeah, a little bit. So here's the deal. I need to be able to print them out. You guys need. I don't care how hard it
Okay.
is. Why you guys look at each other like this is brain surgery? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure we can give Doug the knife.
It is a nightmare.
Why is it a nightmare if
See
Josh
that?
can do it?
Even my delay in getting you the emails is better than you doing it. It's true. What did Doug have to say?
Okay.
eBay's over $300 by the way now.
Well, it's about time it's over $300.
It started with
I'm
10?
just saying.
Did it start with 10?
I don't know what it started at.
Okay, look at Andy. Hi, you're
Wait, you
experimenting.
Experiment.
You
He relisted it at $10 and it's over 300?
With Simply Access in it now.
Oh, look at that. That's still worth $199.
Hey, Simply Access is going well. I've heard.
Going
It's
really
I've
cool.
had youth workers tell me they like the insider stuff that nobody
Yeah.
else gets access to and things like that.
Well,
That's
and
good.
you,
People,
everything you
people are digging
need. Everything you need, $299. Pretty awesome. All right, so anyhow.
So anyway, or Andy could print out the emails and
Yeah.
deliver them to my house, and
Or
say
I could
hi
forward-
to those children that he used to spend time with.
I could forward them to your email as well. It's very easy to forward them. It's just there's so much spam that comes in.
Yeah.
Literally, it's 100 to 1. So I'm filtering through, going spam, bam,
And it's
got
a
it.
crappy tool.
It's the worst tool ever. So,
But why don't we just can't we set up Podcast at Simply Youth Ministry to be an email that goes into one of the folders on my computer that just goes into a folder?
yeah.
Yep.
But you'd get all that spam, 100 to 1 spam for every good email. So you're just going to say delete, 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 delete. Got a good one, print it. Delete, 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 delete. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying.
It's a lot of work.
Okay, well, we got to think. We're an award-winning show,
It's
for
true.
goodness sake.
We deserve better than this.
Come on. We've got Chris
What
here.
if people twittered questions to you directly? D space Doug
No,
Fields.
no.
Yeah.
No. No.
You could print them off your phone.
My name is Doug something, and I've been in youth ministry almost 14 years. First, I want to thank you for the encouragement I get from listening to you guys.
You are
Second, if
welcome.
you could send down encouragement to all of us who are in smaller churches. I've always been in a ministry setting with 400 or less average attendance on Sundays. I've always struggled with feelings like my ministry was somehow second rate to the big guys in town. Lately, I've been getting many different encouragement that being small is good. We're all on the same team. We can all offer things that others can't, and that's what makes us the body of Christ. I love this comment, and Josh will tell you this because I've kind of worked him over a little bit in love on like even some of the ways that you write
absolutely.
write your blog, because I think over the years I just learned this traveling with youth specialties for many years and talking to youth workers.
Yeah.
Going, I've got 8 kids in my group, I've got 6 kids in my group. That illustration you gave didn't, and I've just learned to try to talk youth ministry without mentioning numbers. But every time I meet somebody from a smaller church, I long for the day that I can know everybody's name in my youth group. I mean, I that small connection and doing life. When I think about Andy growing up in the group and us being lifelong friends, my whole family being in his wedding, that would happen if I was at a small church. That would happen. I'd have 10 Andys a year instead of one every few years.
Right.
And but I'm thrilled for the Andys and the Matt McGills and the Jeff McGuires and different people that I've got to do life with. But when you're in a smaller church, you get to do that with. Right. The larger you are, the more of a manager and leader you become, and really the less of a hands-on minister. You really have to fight to do hands-on ministry.
I think it's interesting because large churches are trying to be small by dividing up their large group setting into small groups, and small churches are all dying to be large. And I think I think maybe small, large, we should just think on health. Like, how can we help students that are in a big church be healthy? And how can we help students that are in a small church be healthy and not worry as much about size? I mean, I think we should be growing. I think we should see increases because the body of Christ should be growing. We would expect that. But, minister to students.
It's encouragement that you want. That's easy to give because there's so many days where I wish I was at, a small church setting where I love the conversations with just a couple guys in my car.
Totally.
I mean, basically what I've done is I've treated Cody's sports teams as my youth group.
Right.
So, I mean, what?
I remember sitting in your car, I'm like 16, you have Jackson Brown on, and you go, dude, do you know what this song is about? It's about masturbation.
What made you think of that?
No kidding.
Sitting in your car.
Sitting in my car?
Yeah.
16 years old, Jackson Brown, Rosie.
Yeah, Rosie!
Rosie,
Oh my! Are we gonna play that song this weekend? Next weekend, bro.
When you hold me tight. It's a great song.
Wow. No, I was thinking the same thing. I remember because I've been in both settings now, in a very large church, very small church, and I used to take students with me everywhere I went. There was always a student around we just did everything. Oil changes, student. Shopping for the weekend, student. There were just students all around. And now I'm like,
intern.
we have, intern, team, adult staff, volunteer. I mean, it has escalated to a different type of ministry.
It's
I like
different.
it. I love it. But those days are special.
Yeah.
And we should be happy with them. Happy with whatever God's called you to.
Absolutely.
Guess how many viewers we have right
How
now?
many viewers do we have?
12.
133.
Wow, 133. You and I are
Unbelievable.
done. Me and Kathy
Yeah.
have to get our...
Okay.
Hey, this cute one from Ashley Mabry of Russellville, Arkansas. She says senior in high school and has been listening to podcasts for a long time, but was afraid to write in because she was, it's not for youth workers, not seniors. But last week we read something from a high school student, so she said,
"Oh, very good.
Okay, I'm going to send."
So
and
if you're
she says, "I
listening,
really don't have a question, but I have 2 jokes. What's brown and sticky? A stick, haha. And the second is, it's raining cats and dogs outside. There are poodles in the street." And Ashley, this is why we don't read emails from high school students.
Really glad you listened to the show.
Love that you listen to the show. Believe in you. I want to say to you, Ashley, congratulations, you're gifted.
Yes. That is a great show.
All right. Hey, go to eBay.
Yeah. Buy Simply Access / More Than Dodgeball shirts, etc.
$5 in Matt's raincoat.
Send us your emails,
Podcast at simplyyouthministry.com.
Power Play 5 just came out?
Power Play 5
Power
just
Play.
Can you believe it? I can't believe it. And then we will be at PDYM in 2 weeks, which reminds me, I have to book my flight.
You're serious right now?
Yeah, I don't. It's 2 weeks from now.
Megan Hutchinson teaches on Friday. You teach on Saturday. If you're in Jacksonville, Florida, or want to fly in, it's going to be
We
awesome.
already have 2 weeks down. We have more registrations than we did in Dallas.
That's awesome.
And I'm
Good.
very excited. We're at Joby's church. Right?
Good. Joby's Church, right inside, Beach UMC in Jacksonville.
I follow Joby on Twitter. He twitters a lot.
He's fun.
He's fun?
Yeah, he's a good Twitterer.
Yeah,
He's a well-built man.
I read one to Kathy because he's a ultimate fighting guy. What do you call those guys?
UFC.
Yeah.
He's UFC. He writes, came out of the gym, laid one guy out, got beat by my teacher or something like that. But it was just
that's
so funny.
awesome.
How many youth guys do you know laid one guy out? One guy's unconscious.
That's a
So
good
be in
youth worker right there.
PDYM at Jacksonville.
Be there, book a plane flight like Doug.
May 16th and 17th.
That's
All
going to be fun.
Andy, anything else?
Very
Good
fun.
to go.
Nicely done. Scott,
No.
who made the phone call.
No McGill.
Hey, 949-243-0571, or you can send your marriage questions. All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.